first presenter is Stephanie Rexroth, and her presentation is entitled Why Russia is Better Than You, Lessons from Siberia.
Disclaimer, I do not claim to be a historian, an anthropologist, or a sociologist, so this is my personal observations, and take what they are as their 2 cents, but you may not know many people, if any, that have been to Siberia and have survived. So, little history, or geography rather. Russia's huge, and it's like twice the size of the US land mass-wise, and it's really big. So 5,000 miles across. And where I was at is a place called Irkutsk. It is just North Mongolia, near Lake Baikal, which is one of the largest freshwater lakes in the world. So, one of my first lessons, courage is being scared out of your freaking mind and doing it anyway. So, in going to this trip, this opportunity, I decided to go to Russia. I've always wanted to go to Russia, but decided to go to Siberia because no one goes to Siberia on purpose. And therefore, my lesson number 2 is be careful what you wish for, because holy crap was I ever scared upon getting there. And getting off the plane, the trip there was basically 36 hours it takes to get halfway around the world via plane through time zones. So, you know, when I got off the plane, I was in a complete wreck. My body didn't know what was going on, it was coming and going. So, culture shock is an understatement. I can't really help you to understand what that was like for me personally, but it was basically a month of hell. But on the coming back side of it, I was able to kind of see what has changed in me. This is actually Siberia. What you kind of think of is barren wasteland and cold tundra. Irkutsk is in the southern part of Siberia. It is like a city 3 times bigger than Pittsburgh, and it's far east, so it has a lot of the Chinese, Taiwan, crazy pace of life. Russians are hardcore. That's what I learned pretty quickly. They have a certain number of things they do. They don't eat, apparently. Like, we didn't eat a whole lot. I felt like I was hungry the whole time. They play really hard. They live for the day only. No one is overweight or out of shape. Everyone's like super, just amazing. For instance, here we traveled an hour via tram or foot. We congregated in this ballet theater parking lot, like the courtyard beside the theater, to play ultimate frisbee on the concrete with holes and such. So, and you know, it was fun, but they're hardcore. So, they're also crazy drivers. Don't know how to really explain it otherwise. They drive on the same side of the road we do. There's cars like we have, 2 lanes like we have, but 2 lanes can equal anything between 2 and 5 cars, depending on how traffic goes. And there's like inches in between, stop and go traffic, really intense. So it was a scary experience to be in a car. So men and women, there's a big disconnect for ratios back from World War II days, and that makes a difference on the culture. There's twice as many women to men, so the men are nothing to look at, basically, in Siberia, but the women are all models. Like, they're just not like drop-dead gorgeous models that really take care of themselves. So, this is us playing volleyball, but as a result of there being a lack of women, the women can kind of, I almost had 3 husbands, that's my slide. So, they like American Girls a lot because I was like a little more shy, and they can kind of get in your face, because if they do that to Russian women, they'll beat the crap out of the men. So they knew that I was American and they could take advantage of that, so they were all very friendly. So I had some conclusions after coming back. The first is, challenge everything you think you know. So I discovered in America, we are super paranoid of germs. Like, there's no other country or culture in the world who is so paranoid of germs and being infected by something. But Russia has their own idiom or secrecies. They're afraid of being infertile. So it's strange. I discovered they're kind of like a bizarro America, in that we both, talking to a lot of people there, we both, as cultures, have aims of improving the world or making it a better place, but we just have very different ways of going about it. my conclusion number 2, the human spirit is amazingly resilient. This is Lake Baikal, a very beautiful place. This is like one of the 3 times I thought I was pretty sure I was going to die on this trip. Looks beautiful, but personally I was like, came to terms with facing my death, and that does something to you personally. It's a growing experience. The conclusion number 3, just appreciate what we have in the US by going somewhere else. Simple things like, in Russia, the government and law enforcement are very corrupt, so like there was a fear that I could be thrown in jail just because. So that was strange. There's certain things that were prerequisites to this trip that I really recommend. This book in particular is called How to Survive Overseas Living. And one of the themes throughout the book is kind of really put into your brain is that nothing really is wrong, it's just different. So every culture, every people have developed a very similar way of doing things, just different than what we do. Conclusion number 5, people are just people. So I had a conversation in my last day or 2 in Irkutsk with a girl who, again, like one of these model kind of people, that she was a designer though. She was going to school for design. We had a similar kind of, you know how designers were always like insecure about what we're doing and if we're going to be good. And I was like, oh, that's really cool, people are people. But I realized that she had a very different upbringing than I did. When I was 10 years old, I was like watching TV and worrying about when I was going to go outside next. When they were 10 years old, they lived through the fall of communism. So they had to worry about like how they were going to eat and like where the next day was going to come from. So that just had gives you a different kind of perspective on their upbringing, besides living under communism. So my measuring stick is Victor. Victor I met on the way into Russia. In Moscow, there's the inbound planes and the outbound planes are 6 miles apart for whatever reason. So I met Victor on the inbound and I met him on the outbound. And Victor, when I met him, was the meanest guy ever. On the way back, he was like my best friend. So that was a change that happened within me. Thanks.